we've got another beer with big ideas. This is a Cloudwater collaboration with the Eko Brewery, London-based but African-inspired beer. This is a single hop IPA using the hop Simcoe. But can it be as good as the others in this box for £10 from Tesco? There's only one way to find out. Keep on rocking. Welcome back to Rockers Beer Reviews. Now, this is the last beer in the 4-pack from Tesco, the Cloudwater in collaboration with other small independent breweries. This is Eko Brewery. They are a London-based, African-inspired brewery. They want to share their heritage and invite you to embrace the African culinary experiences through our passion for beer. So another collaboration, obviously, beer. This is using Cloudwater's malt base and yeast and features the hop Simcoe. Now Simcoe, I haven't had many single hop Simcoe beers, but last year I had a beer by Verdant called Safety Flares, and that was a single hop Simcoe Pale Ale, and it was one of the highest ratings beers that I gave last year. So I don't know whether it just caught me on a good day, but now it makes me excited about this one because this is a Simcoe beer. So let's crack this beer open and get it into a glass. As I said, this is part of the 4-pack. We've had the Citra one from Queer Brewing, that was excellent. We've had the Mosaic single hop from Rock Leopard, that was good, if not great. And less said about the 0.5%, the better. So if this is as good as the Citra, then we were on for a winner. And as I say, the Mosaic, I think, it was a good beer. Just depends on your sort of preference for single hop Mosaic beers. So beer in a glass, really sort of orangey. We've got a 2-finger off-white compacted head. Looks pretty good. Very orangey, much more orangey than the other two. Let's see what the aromas are like. Yeah, I'm getting strong sort of pineapple and peach, but it smells quite light. Not like the Mosaic one, which had that little bit of element of dankness. This is very sweet in terms of its pineapple aroma. And there's a little bit of grassiness in there, a bit of gooseberry, a little bit of sort of melon. It smells pretty good though. Let's see what it tastes like. Cheers, everyone. Yeah, I'm getting those fresh pineapples, peaches, mangoes even. There's a little bit of almost like peppery spice though. Can't really pick it out, but there's definitely a little bit of spicy pepperness in there, earthiness. I do think that's characteristic of Simcoe hop. There's a little bit of, there's not a little bit actually, there's quite a bit of pininess in there as well. Pine needles. That sort of, you think it's going to go to a little bit of bitterness, but it's just that sort of spiky, prickly sort of flavour. As I say, it almost is a bit like a white pepper, sort of, which is a bit weird in a beer, but a sort of white pepper sort of spiciness. And then you get this pine needle sort of flavour. And then that leads to a very sort of dry finish. And then you're sort of forgetting a little bit about the fruit. Yeah, now I'm drinking it. I'm getting a lot more earthiness to it, which again, I think is more characteristic of Simcoe. It's got a real sort of dank, piney flavour to it. It's really difficult to pick out the fruits in there because it's like you've got a bit of gooseberry in there. You've got a real sort of strong flavour, but it's not a fresh fruity flavour. And compared with the aroma, I mean, even now it's been sitting in the glass, it does seem to develop a little bit more with the old with Simcoe. It's a bit of a strange hop, really. it works well to sort of round out beers when you're using Citra and Mosaic, and you usually get Citra, Mosaic and Simcoe all in one beer, and that just sort of rounds out. On its own though, it's quite a different beast. It's not to my liking in terms of flavour. It has this sort of peppery taste that does take away a lot of the fruit that's sort of trying to get out. And it's really difficult to pick out the fruit in there. There's pininess in there. There's a bit of sort of maybe passion fruit. There's a little bit of grapefruit in there, but it doesn't sort of, it's not bright and juicy. It's very sort of subdued by that sort of piney bitterness that's enveloping the whole flavour really. Again, it's one of those sort of hops that I think it's very much a Marmite in terms of when it's a single hop. You either love it or you hate it. And I'm more on the sort of not liking it really. I want more fruit and freshness, but what I'm getting is a lot of dankness and a lot of, as you say, that pepperness is so overpowering. It clouds any sort of flavour, really. Okay, I think I've tasted enough of this. Let me get some scores. Okay, the scores are in for this Eko Brewery. This is a single hop, Simcoe hop. IPA coming in at 6% in a 440ml can. Part of the Cloudwater collaboration box. 4 cans for 10 quid. Obviously 3 of them being 6% IPAs and 1 of them being a 0.5% low alcohol beer. This one I'm a bit disappointed. I think it's mainly because Simcoe is not the hop of choice, especially when it's used as a single hop. It has those characteristics of a woody, piney, almost, and there's a sort of spicy, savoury, sort of peppery sort of note to it. There is a bit of grapefruit and citrus, but the peppery sort of notes and the woody pine needle sort of aromas and flavours that sort of overwhelm it. So let's go through the scores. Aroma, yeah, I mean, the more I smell it, it's got a real dank, overly ripe sort of, I suppose mango really is an over-ripened mango. And then you get this sort of almost peppery, savoury sort of aroma to go with it, and a piney sort of much more earthy or woody sort of aroma. It's not that inviting. It doesn't smell fresh and fruity. So I'm giving it 11 for aroma. Appearance-wise, well, it looks pretty good. Nice and orangey. You've got look at the nice lacing of glass. You've got a little bit of head there that's retained. Looks pretty good. I'm giving it a solid 8 out of 10. Flavour-wise, yeah, I mean, I think back to that Safety Flares by Verdant, and I really enjoyed it, but that was Simcoe as well, but it's just too bitter. It's a very much, a Simcoe is very much the hop, a bittering hop, especially when it's used in the dry sort of side. And that's why it's always used better with something that's sort of quite opposite, like that's fresh, like Citra hop, for example. On its own, it's just lacking in fresh fruit flavours. Like the aromas, there's a slight grapefruity citrus flavour, but the pepperness, the savouriness, the pininess is just overwhelming, and it's a little too overwhelming. I don't know whether that's just the way that it's brewed, in the fact that some single Simcoe hops beers can be much better. But for me, it just doesn't it doesn't taste fresh. It doesn't taste inviting. So flavour-wise, I can only give it a 28 out of 40. Value for money, well, again, I'm putting these at 9 out of 10 because, you're buying 4 beers. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this. But you're buying 4 beers for £10, £2.50 each. That's pretty good value for money. There'll be people that would like this beer. Not for me. There'll be a lot of people that really like the Mosaic one. Again, not my favourite. The Citra one for me, I thought was excellent. But would I spend £10 for one beer that I really like? No, I wouldn't. Because I know I can get Citra IPAs out there. I can get the Buxton one, which is I don't think as good as the Queer Brewing one, but at the same time, I can buy that for £2.40 on its own, or I can buy 4 cans of it for £2 each, £8. So, but I'm giving this value for money 9 because I think out of a 4-pack, if 3 of them people will like, then it's worth giving it a go. Overall experience though for this beer, again, I'm putting it fairly low because it's not my style. It's just, again, single hopped beer using something like Simcoe just doesn't work for me. Citra works for me as a single hop. But there's not many other beers that I really like as with a single hop. You need that blend to get those different flavors in. You want the fruit. You want something with a bit of bitter in. You want something with that sort of grapefruit sharpness on the back end. But you don't want it so it's peppery and piney all over it, because it's just, you don't get as much enjoyment from it. So 10 out of 20 for overall experience. So we top those scores up, and it's the lowest, it's pretty much the lowest score on the box, 66 out of 100, a Bon Jovi beer. It's not bland, it's not corporate rock, it's just too bitter. These are bad taste in your mouth, really. It's not something that I want to drink. It's not something that I'm going to enjoy, so it's not for me. So a quick summary of the box. I think it's worth trying. I'm glad I've tried the box. I probably will not buy it again because out of the beers, 3 of them are not really to my taste. It's a shame because that Citra one by Queer Brewing really was good. I really enjoyed it. A box with 4 of them in for £10, I'd be buying it all day long. I think it'd be really good value. But for me, the Citra one does it. I know there'll be others that prefer, that would really like the Mosaic one, the Rock Leopard one. This one, I think, is very much an acquired taste. Again, not really for me. And the alcohol-free one, yeah, there's not really nothing to it. It tastes very, very watery. Not really a great beer at all. Even a low alcohol beers, there's better out there. So there's my little summary of the box from Cloudwater. Yeah, you've got to appreciate it, but I'm in this sort of two-way sort of thought process really in terms of these beers. Do I want to buy a big box of beers, which I'm not going to like many of them? That's why I stopped my Beer 52 subscription, because I was liking less than I was not liking. And again, even when you're buying a box of beer for 10 quid, if there's less than half that you like, it's just not worth the money. There's lots of other single beers that you can buy from the supermarket that are better. The Northern Monk ones are great. The North ones are good. As I say, the Buxton one's good. Even you can get the Vocation ones that are pretty good. You can get Sputnik now by North. That's pretty good as well as a pale ale. There's lots of other beers out there, but I'm glad I've tried them. I may think about sort of seeing if I can find something else from Queer Brewing, because I did like the Citra IPA. But I've rabbited on enough, so that's the end of this video. And until the next one, keep on rocking.